The maintenance hangar of Outpost Kepler 4 to be hummed, with the usual symphony of hydraulics and welding torches. James wiped grease from his hands, staring at his datapad with the kind of reckless confidence that only came after 16 hours of sleep deprivation and 3 cups of recycled coffee that tasted like motor oil. Commander Annavel, his boss, 7 feet of crystalline blue skin, forearms that could crush titanium, and eyes like frozen stars that had never once cracked a smile. In the 8 months since she'd taken command of the Human Wealth Joint Operations Facility that other mechanics called her the Ice Queen, James called her fascinating. His thumb hovered over the send button. The message glowed on his screen. You know, Commander, for someone whose species communicates through bioluminescent patterns, you're surprisingly bad at sending mixed signals. Dinner, I make a mean protein paste surprise. It was stupid. It was career suicide. It was exactly the kind of thing that would get him reassigned to waste. Reclamation. He hit send. James set down the datapad and returned to the Valkyrie-class shuttle he'd been repairing, trying to ignore the hammering in his chest. The Velthari didn't do romance. They didn't do humor. They barely acknowledged humans as anything more than useful mammals with opposable thumbs and an alarming tendency to jury-rig solutions that violated 17 safety protocols. 6 minutes later, someone knocked on the hangar door. Not the chime of the intercom, not the hydraulic hiss of the automatic entrance. An actual knock-knuckles against reinforced steel, deliberate and impossibly loud. James froze, wrench in hand. Nobody knocked in space stations. Nobody. He walked to the door and manually overrode the lock. It slid open with a reluctant groan. Anna stood in the corridor, all 7 feet of her, wearing her standard-issue command uniform that somehow made her look both regal and utterly alien. Her skin pulsed with faint patterns of silver light, the Velthari equivalent of what? Anger? Amusement? The translation guides were frustratingly vague. Specialist Torres, she said, her voice like wind through crystal caves. Commander. James's voice came out steadier than he expected. That was fast. Your message was unexpected. Yeah, I get that a lot. He leaned against the doorframe, trying to look casual despite the fact that his boss could probably bench press him with one arm. Look, if you're here to write me up, I am not here to discipline you. Her upper left hand made a gesture he didn't recognize. I am here because in the 8 months, 4 days, and 17 hours since I assumed command, no human has addressed me with anything approaching ... levity. James blinked. You've been counting. Velthari have eidetic memory. We count everything. Her bioluminescent patterns shifted to something that might have been purple. Your species fascinates me. Specialist Torres, you are fragile, short-lived. You require constant maintenance, food, water, sleep, specific atmospheric conditions. By all logical measures, you should not have survived first contact with any spacefaring civilization. And yet here we are, James said, gesturing at the hangar around them. Fixing your ships, running your stations, making terrible coffee. Precisely. Anna stepped into the hangar, and James suddenly realized how small the space felt with her in it. Do you know what the Velthari Council said when they first encountered humans? They said your species would be extinct within a generation. Too emotional, too reckless. Too ... absurd. I'm sensing a butt coming. But you are still here. Her eyes fixed on him with an intensity that made his skin prickle. Not just surviving, thriving, building, creating. You sent me a message that violated 3 protocols and could have resulted in your immediate termination, because you thought it might make me ... What is your word? Smile. In my defense, I haven't seen you smile yet, so the jury's still out on whether that was a good call. The lights on Anna's skin flared bright gold for just a moment. James's datapad had never mentioned what gold meant, but the way her posture shifted slightly less rigid, marginally closer, made him think it might not be bad. Your protein paste surprise, Anna said slowly. What makes it surprising? James felt a grin spreading across his face. Well, Commander, that would ruin the surprise, wouldn't it? Unacceptable. The Velthari do not appreciate ambiguity in nutritional matters, and I guess you'll have to come find out. He pulled out his datapad again, pulling up his quarters schedule. I'm off shift in 2 hours. Section 7, Hab Unit 23. Fair warning, my kitchen is roughly the size of a closet, and I can only promise that the food will be technically edible. Anna's forearms crossed in what James had learned was the Velthari equivalent of deep thought. The silence stretched for 10 seconds. 20, he was about to backtrack, to laugh it off, to save whatever dignity he had left. I will be there, Anna said finally, but I have a condition. Name it. Explain to me why your species does this. Why you risk rejection, embarrassment, disciplinary action for the possibility of connection with someone who may not reciprocate. James considered the question, really considered it. Outside the hangar, through the reinforced windows, Kepler 4 for 2b's 3 moons hung in the darkness like scattered pearls. Humanity had crawled up from one small planet to stand here, in the void, working alongside aliens who had written them off as evolutionary dead ends because, Commander, he said softly, we're really bad at giving up on things we want. It's kind of our whole deal. The golden lights rippled across Anna's skin again, brighter this time, and when she spoke, her voice had shifted to something almost warm. 2 hours, Specialist Torres. Do not be late. She turned and walked away, and James noticed for the first time since he'd met her that her footsteps were lighter. Almost bouncing, he looked down at his datapad, where a new message had appeared in his inbox. Timestamp, 30 seconds ago. The gold luminescence pattern indicates amusement and anticipation. You may interpret this however you wish. A.V. James laughed, the sound echoing through the empty hangar, and got back to work. He had a shuttle to finish repairing and a dinner to prepare that would either be the best decision of his life or the most spectacular failure. Either way, it was going to be very, very human. And that, he thought, was exactly the point.